stretches, the book talks about stretches as a way to work. So for those people on the call trying to change large legacy systems and the knowledge that this can be nearly impossible to overcome, can you explain what you mean by stretches in the book and how would you suggest working with them?
I think one of our realizations a couple of years into our collaboration was that we were positioning the new things that we were trying to bring about too much in contrast to the old things. Sometimes that we were creating these binaries between things, that the old is bad and the new is better, and we found ourselves falling into this consistent trap of the either or. And the either or way of thinking in our world has led us in many ways to where we are today. I mean, I'd say the either or binary thinking is a hallmark of modern Western thought, and kind of positivist empirical ways of thinking, to say that there is one right way and one wrong way. And it's deeply encoded in our language, in the ways in which we conceptualize things. And actually, the space in between is the fruitful space. That's the spaces we can reclaim that for creativity, for discernment, for options. And when we simply say we're moving from the old to the new, everybody come with us. Not only do we leave folks behind, but we also fail to recognize context and situation, and all of the grayness that is really, the key to working with humans. And so if you're going to design a human system that is human, you've got to allow actually for tension and ambiguity and some contradiction, because those are parts of us. And when we have systems that swing from one thing to the other, that's where the brittleness comes from. And we started to get increasingly concerned that even though the values behind our work were very much about human flourishing and enabling that sort of stuff, that didn't mean that safety, for instance, was unimportant. It didn't mean that we could completely leave that behind either. There is absolutely a time and place for which we need to be thinking about safety and security. The challenge is when that is it, when we are stuck in a safety and security mindset, which our systems are. And so how do we entertain the plausibility of stretching towards flourishing and enabling all that space in between? And that actually is what, how fabulous to create a new way of working and a new way of being that could be more agile and flexible and capable of stretching, rather than simply shifting from one thing to the other.
Yeah, and I don't have much to add to that. I think, as Sarah sort of said, we experience ourselves as contradictions. I mean, this is what the human existence, the human experience is: contrary drives, needs, purposes, motivations, all those sorts of things, and it certainly produces human angst. But we don't allow it in our systems, and yet, the sorts of the scale of the challenges that we face are quite complex. And complexity isn't linear, it isn't straightforward. It consists of paradox and mystery. And so if we adopt a single lens that our system supplies us to kind of get into that complexity, it's going to be wholly inadequate, and it's probably going to be quite blunt and harmful in the process. And so we're kind of curious about this question: is can the system manage to hold tension as a lens, like as multiple purposes, multiple points of view, as a way of actually appreciating and honoring the complexity of people and the challenges that we face? And will that give us better traction and less harm?